Love you guys. I'm JK, your brother in the struggle.
Next question is from Hey JK, I'm curious. How do you know that you rewired your brain after 18 months? You mentioned that number many times. How do you know it wasn't 17 months or 19 months? Okay, so here's you have recently been on this. This is what I've observed. You've been on this thing where you're just like, I don't know whether you're trying to rewire your brain immediately or figure out where you are. I think you're trying to figure out where you're at, right? I've talked about this story a lot of times, and I think you're one of the few people who has listened to my podcast enough to understand it, right? I don't know if it was exactly 18 months. What I do know is that I was counting first, and I counted to the point that I actually slipped and relapsed. After that, I did things in a more methodical way where there wasn't counting. In retrospect, when I look back to it, it turned out to be about 18 months, give or take. Remember, when I decided to do this in Porn Reboot, I wasn't sitting around as a guy who was a rebooted man. I just had all these behaviors already. I was very aware that I struggled with my behavior with pornography. In my journals, in the way I talked, in everything that I did, I knew that overcoming pornography was a major thing in my life. But it wasn't my intention to become a porn addiction reboot coach or anything like that. So this wasn't something that I sat down and planned. This was just in retrospect. I look back and I was like, okay, cool. Like that was the amount of time that it took. And at the point that I realized that, oh, like it's not even an issue anymore, it was about 18 months. That's where it was. Now, what happened was since 2012, when I started helping brothers, I started realizing, obviously, it didn't happen in the first 2 years. It was probably about 4 years into Porn Reboot when I realized that, oh, okay, like using the system that we're using, it takes guys on average about the same amount of, actually, it's beyond average now. Now it's actually most of the time. It takes them about a year and a half to 2 years following the system that was built out, and the system was not what it was in the first 2 years. It took about 4 years for us to have the system, the basic system as it is today. People like Orestes, Reboot Hero, can tell you what the system was like a few years ago. It was super basic. We've added so much stuff to it. But the system, foundationally, in a year and a half to 2 years, we realized that that's the amount of time it took for guys to rewire their brain and stay away from this behavior, get to the point where it actually took efforts for them to slip if they were following the system the way it was laid out, right? In rare cases, there were brothers that it took less amount of time. More often than not, a lot of guys were pushing more towards the 2 year aspect of this. And I'm talking about the sexual behavior, right? So the question I have back to you, because I've been getting a lot of these, you're just like, at one point you wanted to read through all the posts in the group. Then in your ideal reboot definition, you wanted to fix everything. Then you were like, where exactly am I in my reboot? There's nothing wrong with any of those things. But look at how you feel right now and look at your behavior. Then pull up your ideal, your definition of your reboot. If your definition of your reboot matches where you are right now and you've been here for a couple of months, then you're good to go. Does that make sense? Oh, and the final thing for I also want to mention is this: counting, right? People ask JK, when did you know this happened to you? And when did you know that happened to you? When did you know all of these things? It doesn't have to happen in the same timeline, right? It really doesn't. For some brothers, they've been with me for like 3-4 years. And that's just how long it took because of things that were happening in their lives, things that were happening in their environments, right? Reboot Hero, a few other brothers here, they're not going to tell you like, oh, it was this exact amount of time, because they weren't counting. No one's sitting around counting. I wasn't sitting down and counting 18 months. It was just at that point that I was just like, yeah, the time that I came out of that 3 to 4 month binge from my counting days, from when I came out to it till now, without counting, when I actually went back, that's how long it actually took. So the counting was only in retrospect. I was not counting through that period of time. So I hope that clarifies it. But that doesn't mean that because it was that length of time for me, it's going to be the same length of time for you.
Whenever you're ready, here are 4 ways that Porn Reboot can help you out for free. The first way is to subscribe to our channel and make sure that you click on the notification bell to get a new video every other day. The second way is to actually get a free copy of my book, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men, where you'll learn about my personal struggle and the lessons I learned over the past 14 years, as well as get strategies for putting together your own personalized reboot plan and ending your compulsive behavior with pornography or masturbation. So click on the link in the description below this video to get the free ebook. And thirdly, if you're not sure where you'd like to start, but you'd like to learn more about my team and I, or you'd like to spend time with more like-minded professionals like entrepreneurs, business owners, men who work in sales or consulting or high-level jobs, men who are controlling their behavior, then join our free and confidential group, the Porn Reboot group on Facebook. There's also a link to join the group in the description below this video. And finally, if you need our help right now because you have a burning issue, it's an emergency. Your behavior with pornography is hurting you mentally. You're about to lose your relationship and you want to live up to your potential or be an authentic man and free yourself from shame, guilt, and underachieving, then click on the link in the description below this video that actually says free coaching call, or visit elevatedrecovery.org and click on the link which says book a call.